Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Max, head of development at 8020, and in today's technical showcase video, we'll be looking at a simple workflow tip to make bulk reviewing and editing items, a lot of CMS items in Webflow easy. So yeah, let's jump right into it. So to provide a little context about where this idea came from, on a recent project, we were helping a client migrate hundreds and hundreds of blog posts from WordPress to Webflow. The process was relatively straightforward because we could take the CSV export or the data from WordPress and use the Webflow CSV import to get it into Webflow, where you get something like this. Here, I just have an example of a dummy collection I made with 20 fake blog posts, but you can imagine this having hundreds and hundreds of blog posts here with all sorts of different content. When you import into Webflow during a migration, most of the time things work out really well, but occasionally there'll be issues with imported content that maybe even existed before, like broken images, links that point to a broken link, outdated social sharing images, missing meta content, et cetera, et cetera. This could also be true for existing websites that have a lot of content. Over time, sometimes links get broken, images become outdated because the brand changes. But in either case, there is a need to review, edit, and make changes to a lot of items. In our case, there were a few of us working on the project. There were a few of us on the 80/20 side, and there were also the client was involved making some of the changes. So we needed to figure out a way that we could keep track of where we were in the review process, review all of the items efficiently, check that the post imported properly, and make changes. Here's what we came up with. So here's a standard view, again, with 20 fake blog posts. And where we started was we wanted it to behave more like a project management tool. I had in mind Airtable, which allows you to create custom views, have statuses, etc. And I know the Webflow CMS is so flexible that I thought it would be easy enough to make the Webflow CMS behave a bit like a project management tool. So what we did is outside of the normal blog post fields like name and post content and image, we created two internal fields. One of them, a dropdown, which acts as a status called internal review, and another, a rich text field, which is an internal note-taking field for the people reviewing the items. What that enables is, and I'll just edit what we see here, it enables multiple collaborators to go into the CMS and see the status of a post and even sort by that. So here we can see all of the ones that are in progress, the editing. Here are the ones we're going to work on next. And importantly, here are the ones that have been improved. This can be really helpful when you have multiple people, because again, you can keep track of really easily who's doing what, and you can do it directly within Webflow. So what that would look like is I'll open up a blog post. I look at the standard content. With an imported blog post, oftentimes this will contain custom code elements. It will contain videos. It might contain a table. There might be something that didn't import as was expected. So getting an eye on it can be really helpful. I would review it. If something wasn't quite right, maybe I would leave a note here for the next person or the person responsible for reviewing it and say something along the lines of broken image. Let's say broken image in rich text. And whoever is responsible there, and I could save that as a draft, or I could publish it if we're just in a staging environment. But then the next person could go in, see the one with feedback, they could address that, fix the broken image, et cetera, et cetera. And then they might say approved. We'll just remove that note for now and go live. So it's through this mechanism of creating a visual status or a visual indicator that multiple people can review and edit CMS items in a simple way. So that's the first part of it. And then there's a second part that you can use as well. That's kind of an additional add-on. And this uses the idea of the Webflow CMS in a slightly different way by taking these internal fields and building a review interface that lets stakeholders or other people see how is the process going. So for this, I create a simple page called an internal review page. It could be password protected. It doesn't have to be publicly visible. And I've basically just made a very simple page where I have a collection list on it. The collection list has my blog posts, and the collection list is set to filter by the status. So first I have my posts that are next up in the review. Then if I scroll down, I can see the ones that are in progress. And then for a stakeholder or anyone who's interested in following the progress of the formatting, they can also easily see how the process is going here. Because it's Webflow, you could, of course, design it any way you want. You could make it look like a Kanban board. You could include more information in the thumbnail that you're reviewing. You could include less. You could make it multiple columns. You can do whatever you want that helps people understand the process of reviewing and editing these items. So yeah, that's a simple workflow tip here in the CMS. You can use it for bulk reviewing any type of CMS content. It can be used for migrations. It can be used just for checking that your existing content works really well. Doesn't have errors, doesn't have broken links or images. I hope that was helpful. I hope it's helpful to you on your next project, whether it's a big migration or just looking back at your own blog posts. But thanks again, and see you in the next showcase.